Good morning, everyone. From my perspective, it's not even 10 a.m. Yeah, it's still morning, especially if you had a good night. If you were up all night eating burgers, man, you could have, you might have to sleep off that, the meat sweats. It just happens. Aesop Rock, Homeboy, Sandman. Now, all I know is this: Go Hard is on my all-time like everyday playlist. I heard that the first time and bam, done deal. Just so it don't mean nothing. I like one of their songs. Okay, that don't matter. But that's the free pass. Uh, Willing to, even if it just right over my head. But I read a couple of lyrics, and I think this is not only going to go hard, could get complicated. Right off of the bat, there's a couple questions posed that wow, seemed like they could use answers. Now we'll see what the bar's got to say about all that and how trigger happy my pause finger is.
What do you think is in the burgers? What do you think is in the burgers? Mystery meats from different merchants, cats and dogs and missing persons. What do you think is in the burgers? Visitors from distant churches, city mice and similar vermin, all mixed in with artificial preservatives, twerps. Twisting, turning, tumbling, it's vertigo in serpent country. I circle earth and turn pretty fugly, then circle back for that Keurig upkeep. Ripples in your resting juice, forecasting chimps in heavy shoes, belly laughing at these saplings, telegraphing every move to these sitting ducks in silly circles. What do you think is in the burgers? Swiss cheese and sacrificial virgins, twisted limbs from triple murders. That's information out of infomercial. I'm in your faces. Tip your server, wizard pipe with my wizard weed, my pole position, my millipede. I like marching out in that darn dicey whilst architecture falls down behind me. Vehicles won't stop exploding. I'm still expected with a pocket of protein, with a pocket of posies, sword and stone, and I trained my whole life for this moment. Hordes of houseflies, swarms of locusts, gore to get with. Report to Stonehenge. What do you think is in the burgers? Somebody knows, nobody talks, somebody owes. What do you think is in the burgers? Nobody gives, somebody talks, so nobody wins. What do you think is in the burgers? Somebody's up, if nobody talks, then what is for lunch? What do you think is in the burgers? Rat poison and dish detergent. That evidence that if it surfaced could affect the case, they spin the verdict. What do you think is in the Gerbers? Razor blades and other hideous kernels, insects and fish and turtles, and viscera yet to have been determined. Oh, death, won't you spare me over? I'm very close to that Terra Nova, with a boiling pot of sub-terra culture. It's extra ultra. Buenos noches. Scriveners with feather pens from pretty birds like precious gems. We sketch up existential threats, defensive ends like let's be friends, and it's tense. I thin the herd. What do you think is in the burgers? Billionaires and Bilderbergs, over 99 billion served. Bitch, skip a turn. Handshake heavy. I send.
I want to check out the song. I'm usually really. We could have stopped a couple body parts. We started there. We're going with missing persons. I could have went hard. We're gonna listen to it and then go back. There's lyrics on this one. Everything I need to strap on the hat is in the bars of this song.
Bilderbergs, over 99 billion served, bitch, skip a turn. Handshake heavy, I send y'all back to the landscape lefty. Leather face in my Freddy sweater, I might trail you, send the pale death beheader. I say, let's feed that mess to the shredder. Press the patty, add cayenne pepper. Add more, this is trial and error. Never been two burgers alike, like ever. Game night with my dice tower, my D20, my night howlers, my night owls, one fire flowers. Got one question for the higher powers to go. What do you think is in the burgers? Somebody knows, nobody talks, somebody owes. What do you think is in the burgers? Nobody gives, somebody talks, and nobody wins. What do you think is in the burgers? Nobody speaks, if somebody can't, then nobody eats.
What do you think is in the burgers? burgers, prophets, sages, book pages, truth and fables labeled outrageous, boys and girls and kids of all ages. What do you think is in the burgers? Gucci purses, proofs of purchase, DMT, smallpox and worsen, EMTs and docs and nurses. What do you think is in the burgers? Peep the whispers, heed the murmurs in a 2D prison for the visual learners with YouTube to MP3 converters. Psyops on the bill, free will sizzling on the grill. Get them heretics on the rack, they like word to that, I'm like on the rope. What do you think is in the burgers? Zippo lighters, freedom fighters, 76ers and 49ers, and junk mail from healthcare providers. What do you think is in them? People wearing Jordans when a shoe don't fit them. White lies, both sides of Pink Floyd prism. Descendants of the slaves turn slave to the rhythm. What do you think is in the patties? Hidden data, missing daddies, bros and panties. It's a trip, better pack a Janny. Pakistanis, wires and cables and routers. Greedily they ground believers, defeat the doubters. Innards over the counter, barely know the difference between the inner and the outer. What do you think is in the burger they serve up to the casual observer? History meets mystery meets secret, that's a mess you best keep. The taste mesquite, blood and sweat cause you sweat the technique, and tears from the deck that knock you in the next week. And pig's feet, enough to feed all of 125th Street. What do you think? Old tires, no iron or zinc in that pink. No riboflavin, lead paint ain't no misbehaving. Oh right, that's your favorite, chunks of pavement, quote the raven. Acid, antifreeze, but forget it, don't sweat it, just add cheese. Hey.
Damn. Okay. Soak it in. I think that hit hard. It's a song by itself. It's pretty cool. I think if you weren't, I think it's not as hard to miss the question being posed. Now, first pass, right off the bat, I'm like, well, kind of seems like burgers is a macrocosm for life, but so many created and sold, so delicious when done right. A good place to work with. But you come out of the gate talking about throwing the missing persons in there. You got to build a burger reference in there somewhere. I'm pretty sure I heard. Well, the whole thing get a little complicated. And instead of just jumping out the window and wasting everybody's time going long, maybe we come back to a special feature. But I will go with this. I just saw posts that the bug to food industry has taken a major hit. And it turned out it looks like it's tied to certain forms of funding being cut off. And all of a sudden, it turns out we're not going to eat the bugs, the fake meat. And I mean, I'm scared of what they put in the real burgers, anyways. But I grew up with cattle around us, and going to the ranch to pick up from their butcher. So I don't think what was in my burger is the same as what's in the city burger. But eventually I moved and started, pounding Big Macs in my face hole, and turns out that probably was not a good idea. I can't imagine what's in those burgers. Point being, I don't get all weird. That was pretty cool. But it doesn't take a rocket science to say we could spend an hour in this one for real. I like that wizard pipe with my wizard weed. Yeah, I don't know about nothing. Well, I like playing D&D and smoking pot. I'm just hoping that's a cooler way of saying that. I actually think both set of bars, great. So much depth that I think I'm leaving it for a round two, but I think I'm going to do the round two in the morning. I'm positive. The burgers, Lice, Aesop, Homeboy, Sandman, there's just no way. What do you think's in the burgers? Mystery meats from different merchants. Now, is there some meat in this country that's actually shipped, put on a plane, shipped someplace else, processed, then shipped back? What do you think you got to do to that stuff to make that right? Cats, dogs, and missing persons. Well, from that bar on, you've got a lot of jokes that make some people uncomfortable. I'm sorry, I'm old enough that, you just made jokes about missing pets around certain restaurants in town. You still ate at the restaurant, so what do you think? It's just a different sense of humor, and, get your tissues. The missing persons one's rough. That goes into a conspiracy theory rabbit hole that I believe I'm not really allowed to talk about in any outright way. Uh, all I could say is there's some creepy videos where they're like, "Yeah, we're putting people in your burgers." How do you think all that? Where do you think all that? You think it comes from cows? And I just crazy. I'm not saying I believe that. I'm just saying it exists. And for all I know, it's a big old psyop to get me to just keep eating the burgers. But then visitors from distant churches, city mice, and similar vermin, I really was getting into that recently because you can you can position yourself where you'd like, right? But I was listening to a couple different tunes. One was pretty lightweight on the substance, and the other one was pretty advanced. And it kind of talked about you go back a ways. Let's say you're willing to look at some interesting storylines the planet has produced. Could be fiction, but let's say you're willing to go back and stay away from the control system part of the story and look at the the weird, let's say, ancient fantasy side of it all. What could be? Yeah, I don't want to tell you anything's true. That's on you. I would hate to think I'm pushing any ideas on you. I just think there's old stories that say ancient bloodlines took over certain organizations, co-opted it for their own means. I don't know if that's real or not. Maybe that's all a put on. But that put on actually controlled the planet for a whole long time. So it's interesting when you start looking at it from multiple perspectives. I think it kind of step it outside the box because I would have no clue. Like I said, I would go with indictment of consumerism, commercialism, society at large, plus some wink, wink, nudge, nudges to burgers being kick ass. Yeah, no. I like a mushroom and Swiss. I think you could just keep the sacrificial virgins. But history says we be tossing bitches into volcanoes. Kidding, kidding. Relax. If that's we've been pitching virgins into volcanoes since the beginning. But I mean, I'm just trying to be funny. There's so many people don't want to relax. At the same time, I'm pretty sure we split open the chests of many a victim and said, "Please make it rain." Not sure that's something we should prop up on a pedestal and give homage to. Call it out for the disgusting nature it was and move on from that period of society. Telling stories good, dwelling on it bad. But I just think the whole thing very cool, and we could spend a lot more time. So I'm going to do a round two on the burgers, then maybe segue into another track because I think there's more than one out, according to my texts. That being said, I think Lice, Aesop, Rock, Sandman, Homeboy Sandman. Wow. Sorry, I just got a text from someone saying, "Hey, you coming down today?" I'm like, "Nah, it's supposed to snow 2 feet. I'm going to be prepared to dig myself out." The burgers was a lot more entertaining than the storm that's supposedly blowing in. We'll deal with it and probably see you in the morning. Later.